Right there, I got it on camera. Hey, she just spit on me. She just spat on me.
What did you call them earlier when you were talking to them? Didn't you call them a bunch of fucking pussies?
No, I called them pussies.
Yeah, I mean these people here.
No, just the ones that are wielding AR-47.
So what are you here to do today?
I'm here to support people that don't indoctrinate and groom little 8-year-old kids, credulous.
So why do you need to get in someone's face?
I wasn't. I was walking over here to talk somewhere. I was walking over here to talk to somebody, and this one, and the other goes, you know what, you can.
Who do you need to talk to?
Who do you need to talk to?
I didn't. I wanted to go talk to somebody. None of your fucking business who I want to talk to. Okay. All right. I know, because I thought this was a public sidewalk. I'm being peaceful. I was just going to talk to somebody. Fucking close. Look, I was just going to talk to someone. I get my fight on goes, get off of here. You can't be here. You know, I'm sorry. This is a free pride. Okay. Then tell you, they're the ones that are making it. I went to talk to a friend of mine over here, and I got 5 of them as much, and he said, get off of here. You can't be here. I was trying to talk to a friend.
Sir, do you support the Second Amendment? Do you support the Second Amendment?
Why can't I be on a public sidewalk?
Why would you bring an AK-7 to an event like this?
I show my face. Go ahead.
I show my face.
Go ahead.
A couple others are on it.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, that how can it stand? Isaiah 19:2. Modern day Egypt. Spiritually Egypt. Modern day today. Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, and his city against city and kingdom against kingdom. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the 4 corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And as you've seen right there, that clip, you know, credit to the brother. They be bringing those edifying videos out through info, you know, through Wadiyah Bashim Al-Shaf for that brother, you know, bringing out that edifying videos he be putting out. You know, as you've seen that clip right there, you know, that shows you, you know, as I brought out Mark 3 and 25, you know, both sides, on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, you know, you're going to have these people on a different platform of these factions or groups, you know, on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, you know, they're going to disagree with certain things, and a lot of them, one other side believe this, the other side believe this, the other side think it's unright, the other side going to think it's right, you know, so you're going to have these two groups, you know, continue to clash it out with one another. And I brought out that Isaiah 19:2, because the modern day Egyptians is over here in modern day Babylon, you know. There's these Idumeans, you know. It's like in ancient Egypt, same thing now. Modern day, you got to have the Egyptians against Egyptians, different kingdoms against different kingdoms, cities against cities, which we're seeing as well too. You're gonna have people of different organization factors in different cities going against one another. You know, they're gonna think the other thing is right and the other part is not right. Especially what you see in that situation down there in Texas. You have the one group was armed with weapons, I believe. They had some type of protest was going on, you know. In the other group, they said it wasn't right, you know. And the other groups, they try to protect it. So you're gonna have situations like this, especially places like Portland, Oregon, over there in that region. Places like Portland, Oregon, Seattle, with the Antifa versus the Proud Boys. Because you're going to have these clashes between the liberals versus the conservatives. Not trying to get political or nothing like that, but this is actually happening, That's why I brought up that Mark 3:25. If a house be divided against itself, how shall it stand, Especially when the election time comes, especially in 2024, Lord willing, that's to be determined. There's going to have tensions leading all the way up to that as well, too. But in the meantime, you're going to have these ongoing tensions similar to this, as that video clip that you've seen. I believe there was some type about protecting the kids or something like that from the alphabet lifestyle. Because you do have these alphabet lifestyle people teaching their kids these things, that get them indoctrinated, brainwashed, and the people on the right-hand side, they doesn't agree with that. And then you got the people on the left-hand side believe it's nothing wrong with that, They trying to be open and everything's all equal and stuff like that. So you're going to have both sides, on the left-hand side and right-hand side. Both sides is not going to agree on the same thing. That's why I brought out that scripture, a house be divided, a house that's divided, how shall it stand, And then will shut the Egyptian against the Egyptian. And that's what's modern day. The Idumeans going against the other Idumeans that's on the left-hand side of liberalism and the other on the right-hand side of conservatism. You're gonna start to see that increase now more than ever, And these two different organization groups, they're gonna continue to clash with one another, Because you see it heavy down there in Texas, heavy in parts of the East Coast, parts of the West Coast as well too. Especially like places like Oregon, because Oregon's supposed to be like a liberal, city, But you got a lot of conservatives in that region, and the liberals as well too. So expect to see Antifa and the other side of the right-hand side, the conservatives, the Proud Boys, for an example. They're going to continue to clash it out against one another, because both sides, the left-hand and the right-hand side, they got different views of what they believe in. One is going to disagree with the other. One going to think their view is right, and the other group going to think their view is right, and the other group going to think that person or those group of rules is wrong and it's not right, and then the other groups is going to believe is right. So that's why a house be divided. A house that's divided, how shall it stand? And you're going to see these tensions are going to increase. I'm going to bring out 2nd Esdras 9:3. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, right? Because you're going to see uproars of the people in the world. You're going to have these different groups of different nations, of different kingdoms, of different cities clashing it out against one another. And sometimes it might lead to physical, and it's going to get to that point as well too, because you're going to start to see it increase, even though it's been cooling down, but it's going to increase. You're going to see the increase of uproars of the people. That's what you're seeing over there in Iraq. Even though the tensions has calmed down after a 2-day of violence over there in that region, after one of their political leaders had resigned, and then you had two different organization groups hashing it out, violently against one another. So you're gonna have these two different groups in those same cities. That's why I say city against city and kingdom against kingdom. That's why the modern day Egyptians against the modern day Egyptians, you're gonna start to see that increase as well too in these latter days, And as it was mentioned, I was looking at that clip that brother brung out through information. You know, as you see in that clip, they said they had like armed forces or something like that to protect the rights of alphabet lifestyles, teaching their kids and having their kids, having those alphabet lifestyle, dance in front of their kids and teaching them the alphabet lifestyle and stuff like that. And then you had people on the right hand side, they was highly against that and they was highly upset about it, So you had people on the left hand side try to protect that belief, say if it's all right, and then you got the other on the right hand side and said no, it's not right. We're not trying to have our kids to be indoctrinated of that. We don't want our kids to be dancing by an alphabet lifestyle type person. So that shows you continual increase of prime examples of that Mark 3:25. A nation be divided against itself, how shall it stand? And then Isaiah 9:2. I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. A divide between the nations increasing as well too, And I'm gonna bring out 2nd Ezra 15, verse 15. And as you seen, they had some armed Antifa with some rifles and stuff like that. Even on people on the right hand side, they do the same thing as well too. I guess Antifa trying to up their ante of protection. So let me go to verse 15 in 2nd Ezra. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up against another, and with swords in their hands, right? Because the modern day sword is the gun. Just like in ancient times, they battle out with swords. Now in modern day times, the sword is the modern day weapon today, Hey, it's going to be times when these nations clashing out with one another. Hey, it's going to be swords as well too. And as much as the modern day sword is the weapon, In verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their princes. In the course of their actions is standing their power, right? You're going to have these organization factors group. Not only are they going to be going against one another, of city against city, kingdom against kingdom, nations against nations, Hey, they're going to be going against their leaders that's in power as well too. They're going to highly oppose certain laws that their leaders that's in power, the citizens, they're going to highly oppose it, and they're going to be in the uproar with it. You're going to see that increase in the latter days as well too. And this is the book of I'm gonna continue on down, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 17. And they shall desire to go in a city and not be able, right? Because when these martial law kicks in, when these lockdown kicks, if the cases are starting to go out, because Esau Edom, he like to do this order out of chaos, especially when these latest incidents had happened over there in Oregon. I believe it was an Idumean. He had an AR-15. He shot like 2 or 3 people, and he went inside a market, a Safeway market, I believe, over there in Oregon. He killed like 2 people and killed himself on the scene, So Esau Edom, sometimes he orchestrate these order out of chaos and these false flag events as well too, So people are gonna be in the uproar of their weapons being taken, confiscated. You're gonna see that increase as well too. So that's why you're gonna have these citizens, these armed rifle citizens, they're gonna be in the uproar of their weapons being taken away from them, you know, as they ban AR-15 weapons, ban the stockpile weapons of it as well too. Say, hey, you're gonna see the uproar of that as well too, of these nations going against their political leaders and figures that's in power. You know, you're gonna see that increase as well too. In verse 18, 2nd Ezra 15, verse 18, for because of their pride, and the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, right? Hey, you're going to see that increase as well, too. You know, the cities are going to be in trouble. Hey, there's going to be full-out chaos in that day, and we are definitely approaching in those times, you know. And 2nd Ezra 15, in verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but they shall destroy their houses with the sword, right? 'Cause the sword is the modern day gun, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? You're gonna see that great tribulation as well too. Hey, they not gonna have no pity on their neighbor. Hey, it's gonna be one Idumean neighbor against another neighbor. Hey, he's gonna go in his house and take his spoils and his goods, you know, because of the lack of bread, you know. Potential food shortages, a potential of cost of everything going up, the hyperinflation, cost of living, bills going up, everything going up. So yeah, you know. So these are prime examples of what's about to come on this planet Earth. But yeah, go back to that Mark 3 and 25 and Isaiah 19 and 2. You know, kingdom against kingdom, city against city. The modern day Egyptians against the other modern day Egyptians on the left hand side and the right hand side. So hey, these are going to increase in the latter days. Mark 3 and 25, if a house be divided, how shall it stand? You know. So with that, I hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. Until next time, before I close out the sit-down lesson on this August the 30th, 2022 at 1:42 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Tuesday afternoon. So yeah, that's tradition among men. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, city against city, nation rising up against nations. Left hand side versus the right hand side, modern day Egyptians against the Egyptians. You know, these things are going to increase. If a house be divided, how should it stand? As Mark 3 and 25, like I mentioned, and Isaiah 19 and 2, the Egyptians, modern day Egyptians against the Egyptians. You know, what you've seen over there in Iraq is coming over here to modern day Babylon. You know, that's just a prime example for what's about to take place in modern day Babylon, you know, in these nations, you know, divided states of America. That's what that is, you know, and it's going to increase now more than ever. So with that, I would say shalom and a ball.